All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Do Our Things podcast. I'm Jay Teagues, and I have in studio with me the lovely Angie Bertrand. How are you doing this morning, Angie?
I'm great. How are you doing?
It's a Monday. It's a Monday.
Mhm.
We're having
Mhm.
a little struggle this morning. I'm having a little struggle this morning. It's been a couple weeks since I've been here, so thank you for covering down. But I
Yeah.
got up early this morning. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure everything is good to go because I'm a little bit rusty and having like some technical issues. Only one of my speakers is working, and just trying to get the system set up. But it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it happen anyway.
Yes, we are.
So, hey, in today's episode, we're going to talk about setting priorities. And like, you ever work in an organization where things like chaos, everything is a priority. You got numerous people you got to answer to. It can be very unsettling. So, we're going to talk about setting priorities in a high demand organization and give some strategies and some tips to help you navigate the chaos of that, because that is a challenge. And I was on a leadership trip last week, providing some coaching and mentorship. And that was like one of the common themes of the whole exercise was these competing interests within the organization. When you got multiple bosses to answer to, and you've got like everything is a priority, and you don't have enough time or resources in the day to make it happen. And I have operated that way for a very long time in a variety of roles that I had in the military. And those that have served in the military and other organizations can probably, they felt that before. And how do you get through those situations and establish priorities when everything's chaos? So that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get into today's episode, just a couple housekeeping notes. Make sure you smash that subscribe button so you're notified of future episodes. We're on Spotify, Apple, Pocket Cast, YouTube. Please go over to Apple iTunes and leave us a review. It goes a long way for helping us expand the Do Hard Things Nation. It means a lot to us. We read every one of them. So take a few minutes and do that. And then share it with your friends. If you got someone that gains some value from this, please share it with a friend. And this episode is sponsored by The Forge. The Forge is a high performance community uh, in the Lions Guide ecosystem. The Lions Guide is a organization where we help people solve leadership problems. We feel that leadership solves most problems within your organization, your family, and even yourself. And we empower everyday people to become world class leaders. Our mission is to empower everyday people to become world class leaders. The Forge is a community of like minded people where you can level up. It's an opportunity to network with growth minded people. You have accountability. There are challenges. And I host a call every Tuesday night. We have a book club in there. So it's a great way. If you want to level up your personal growth and development, go over to lionsguide.com, check out The Forge. And we're also sponsored by Do Hard Things Apparel. So these awesome shirts, and they're high quality apparel that inspires you to do hard things. They're all made by my wife, Lacey, and they're incredible. So go there and check out dohardthingsnation.com, grab yourself a shirt. And our upcoming events, we have the 9.11 mile run and 9.11 mile ruck at Cooper's Landing on 9 September 23. We have also a 5K, but it's in honor of those that sacrificed during 9/11. And we have a virtual option. And so you're going to want to grab your medal, get signed up before. We only have so many seats. We only have so many spots, so many medals. So sign up because they are selling out quickly. And that's it. That's it for the housekeeping stuff. So, Angie, how have you been?
Oh, I've been great. I spent the weekend in Florida, so that was awesome, and flew back last night, and here we are, ready to start the week now. How
Awesome.
about you? How about you?
Man, Florida's a fantastic place. I was out in Colorado. I had to do a little bit of work. So I guess I was out 2 weeks. So the week before that, Lacey and I went to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. That was awesome. That was my first time there. And it was basically our honeymoon. We had gotten married back in September, but we never really took an official honeymoon. So we went down to this all-inclusive resort. And here's the hard thing about this. When we go on vacation, uh, we're doing excursions, we're hiking, we're traveling, we're jumping out of airplanes, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. This time we're just like, you know what? We're just going to sit around the pool for 4 days straight and do nothing. Because we thought about doing an excursion while we're down there. I'm not one to like just settle down and just like chill. But
Yeah.
that's what we did. We went down there. We just had a great time. We ate food. We laid by the pool. We met some other people from Missouri, which was super cool.
Oh,
Made
wow.
some pretty cool friends. We're going to go hang out with again. And yeah, it was. I'll tell you, for someone that doesn't sit around and do nothing, like after day 2, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this for 4 days, but I made myself do it. And
Yeah.
it was so calming. Like I was able to get into that, like we talk about like just being able to detach and get into that strategic thinking.
Yeah.
It was just really nice because it was like, man, I was really able to unplug and really think. And that was
Oh,
really cool.
good. Yeah. I'm sure you
Um,
guys needed that.
we did need that for sure.
Yeah.
And then on the 4th day or the 5th day, we're supposed to fly back. We got notification that Frontier canceled our flight.
Oh,
And
Frontier.
so there was a lot of people. Yeah, we got frontiered. There's a lot of people, excuse me, in the lobby that were freaked out. And we're like, you know what? We're here another day. Like, this is amazing. Like, yeah, okay, so it's an inconvenience. We got to reshuffle some things, but we're here another day. There's nothing we can do about it. So we
Yeah.
enjoyed one bonus day down there, which was super cool.
Right on. That's awesome.
So yeah, then I flew back. I was back for a couple of days, got to hang out with the family, and then I went out to Colorado to do some training at Fort Carson. So this is my first time as a retiree going back and actually doing some work with the Army. I was part of a group that basically we came in to provide some expertise to a unit that is doing some work in Europe, and that was super cool to be able to go back for a week and do that. When I was in Colorado, though, I did 2 hard things. I got to do the Manitou Incline. Have you ever done that before?
Oh, no, but I want to so bad.
Yeah, you got to get out there and do that.
Yeah. Yeah. For
The
sure.
Manitou Incline is 2,768 steps to like railroad ties that go up the side of the mountain. Up,
Hmm.
it's the same. It's basically the same trail you'd hike up to Pikes Peak,
Yeah.
and it is super grueling. I mean, it'll kick your butt. But yeah, we got a chance to go out there and do that, and then in you're on Strava, aren't you?
Yeah.
You Strava? Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a Strava segment up at the Denver International Airport, and it's called the Gate Change GNAR. And it's like one of those, there's articles written about it because
Okay.
it's one of these unique Strava segments. It's like a point, tenth of a mile between gates B 46 and 56. And you have to walk some of it's on the, what do you call the escalators that are flat, the moving
I don't know what
sidewalk.
they're called, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's like moving sidewalk. You got to walk a little bit, and then it's halfway down another moving sidewalk. So it's like these moving sidewalks are really long, but it starts halfway. So
Yeah.
you have to walk down the moving sidewalk, walk across, and you walk to the other one, and it's from these 2 gates. And the record, I think that the speed record's 18 seconds. And then there's an ultra runner that did 26 segments. So if you do 20, they have this thing called the local legend, and
Yeah.
the number of segments that you do in a 90-day period, you get the local legend.
Hmm.
So I ended up doing 26, which was about 8 miles. So I'm basically walking escalator to escalator, like because it's over a quarter mile to do one loop to hit it. So yeah, that's what I did on my Sunday because I had such a
That's
long
fun.
weekend. So yeah.
That's pretty
So
cool.
super stupid, but fun. Do hard things. I walked 8 miles with my luggage doing that total. Probably 8 miles to do the thing, and then because I was not in that concourse, so it's a big airport, so I had to.
Yeah.
The challenging thing about that particular one is you have to have a ticket to get in, obviously, and then you have to find it because I was over in Concourse A. It's a huge airport, and
Hmm.
it took me about a half hour just to find it, and
Oh,
then
wow.
sit there and do loops around there. It's stupid, but it's fun.
Was anyone else doing loops?
No, no one else
Oh,
is doing it.
no.
But there have been like 200 people that have attempted it.
Uh-huh.
And I was just wondering, is someone like watching me? Like, is anyone paying? Because they don't want to be a creeper or anything. But there was just so many people moving. I don't think anyone even noticed me doing laps. I mean,
Yeah.
I
That's
was out
cool.
there for probably a couple hours just walking. I stopped for a little bit and have a, snack and then went back at it.
Hmm.
So it was fun. It's stupid.
Nice.
But anyway, those are
Sounds
my
fun.
antics over the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So what about you? How's Florida?
Oh man, Florida was great. The weather was great. We went to a family reunion on Rudy's mom's side and met so many people that we hadn't met before and reconnected with people. And it was just great, getting to hear about his family history and connecting the dots on how people are related. It was a really quick trip, but yeah, it was nice. It was great. Yeah,
Good, relaxing. Was it hot down there? We're in the middle of the heat.
it was. It was hot. I slept in on I was gonna get up early at like 6 and go run Saturday morning, and ended up sleeping in and didn't get started till 8, and I was regretting that a little bit, but it was beautiful. And I just I loved it because there were so many people out. There was a guy out riding a skateboard, and then he'd stop on the corners and do push-ups, and there were a lot of people just out being active, a lot of people on bicycles and a lot of people walking, and it was just nice. It was really
Yeah.
nice. So I was down in the Tampa area, so
Oh, that's
it was
great.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah. I love Florida. It's a
Me
great
too.
place to be. All right. Well, hey, today, so one of the themes from last week, so the training that I did last week was just really, like I said, just working in a organization where everything is chaos. You got numerous bosses to answer to. Have you ever worked in that kind of environment?
Yes, I have, and I am so excited for today's episode. I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
because
How
there's
do
a
you
lot of
handle?
people
How
that
do you?
need this.
Yeah. How do you get through that? How do you handle that when you got competing priorities and everything's a priority. Everything's on fire. You got numerous people to answer to. How do you
It
manage
took
that?
Well, okay, so first and foremost, I would set an alarm on my phone and make sure that I took my breaks. And my breaks consisted of getting outside, unless it was raining, then I do it inside. But and walking for my dedicated breaks and lunch hour. But then I had to physically, because everyone's like, "Oh, this is a priority. You need to do this. You need to do this." Everything can't be a priority. So I sat and I uh, blocked out time to check my email, and that's all I did, and answer the phone. And I blocked out times of the day to work on different things to move just a little bit further, where move that needle a little bit, and get further ahead. But man, it was tough and it was stressful. I mean, stressful, stressful.
Yeah, it when everything feels like it's a priority and you got multiple people to answer to and you want to do a good job,
Hmm.
it just leaves you just feeling like it can wear you out. It can lead to overwhelm. It can
Hmm.
lead to just complete frustration. And oftentimes people don't quit organizations, they quit leaders. And this is a leadership responsibility, is to make sure that we're not overextending and we're creating an environment where everyone knows what the priority is. But this is a common pitfall. And
Hmm.
so some of the things I'm going to share this morning, just some of the things that I have learned as a leader operating in environments like this for a long period of time. And one of the things that I've noticed is when you've got when you got a bunch of tasks, you got to realize you're juggling a bunch of things. You got to look at them. Which ones are the glass balls and which ones are the rubber balls? Because oftentimes we're juggling and we're thinking that we can't like drop any of them. And that is one of the challenges. If you're trying to complete everything with your best work, it's going to lead to absolute overwhelm. So as a leader, you have to determine, what is specifically, the priorities, and you need to enumerate them like one through, however many there are, 1 through 5, 1 through 10, whatever those are. Like make a list of them and really sit down and like, which ones are the glass balls that we have to absolute execute with excellence. Which ones are the rubber balls? They're important, but we can assume a little bit of risk. We can probably, if that one actually happened to fall, is it going to bounce or is it going to shatter? Right. And the bouncing, the balls that bounce, we can assume a little bit of risk and maybe we can let those fall. And then you're going to want to collaborate, with your supervisors. You're going to take that list that you prioritize and be like, hey, boss, um, am I on target here? Are these the right priorities? Are these your priorities? And they might give you some feedback like, okay, that's a good list, but these are some of the, we'll make some adjustments here. Now, sometimes you might have uh, a couple people to answer to, and you might take that list to one person. They might like, yeah, that's, and then the other one's like, this one needs to be bumped right back up because this is my priority. Well, then sometimes you need to have your leaders talk to each other because and it's more of being forthright and it's communication, right? You have to be like, look, I I only have so much time and so much resources to execute these things. And you two are telling me that these are, there's a conflict here in the priorities. I think you two need to have a conversation. And, sometimes leaders, they don't know what they don't know. And it takes a little bit of courage to basically, and some communication to foster that environment to where you're connecting people to deconflict these things. Um, and so I think, that's the important. It's a being a leader. One of the critical roles is setting priorities because it helps provide direction and manage resources, and it enables people to be on track. And
Hmm.
what you have when you have a, I guess the blessing is that when you have people that care, they're trying to get it all done, but it can lead to absolute chaos.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any advice or any strategies that would kind of coincide with that?
No, I mean, everything you said spot on. It You definitely have to have communication. Open communication is a really big thing. Um, you have to be honest about what you can and your deadlines and what you can and can't do. You have to, because like you said, they don't know what they don't know. Um, and you have to sit down and if you have to request the meeting and have your list, don't just take problems to your leadership. If you are the if you're in the employee role and you are finding yourself overwhelmed, don't sit down with your leadership with just problems. Sit down and have problems and solutions, problems and ideas of what works best for you and how you feel like you can get the things accomplished and how you're prioritizing, and that might open their eyes and help them see that not everything can be a priority. And okay, well, which one, because I would do that with my leaders. I would sit down and ask them, okay, this is what you're saying is the most important, this is what you're saying is the most important, which is really the most important, because I can only do one thing at a time here. I
Yeah.
can't work on both of these at the same time. And it would just take doing that sometimes, and we would have to brainstorm and figure out how we could prioritize it and get it done and what really was the priority.
Yeah, sometimes you have to lay it out like, look, I have all of these things I need to do, but I don't have enough time or resources to do them all. Which of these priorities are you willing to assume a little bit of risk on?
Yeah.
If I can't get it done, and you start to let them, establish the priorities for you and
Hmm.
help you collaborate with that end. And I think when I always had my subordinates come and do that to me, like it was helpful because I could clearly outline, like it made me understand their situation a little bit better,
Hmm.
and I could maybe provide maybe there was a resource shortfall, or maybe there was like, okay, I understand that you don't have enough time or resources. What if I shifted this individual over to help you out? Or what if you had these resources? Would that be helpful? Because
Hmm.
sometimes maybe delegating some things out or shifting some things,
Yeah.
just that open communication was very, very helpful from a leadership perspective.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes the leader doesn't know that they've overextended their team,
Right.
and I think it's incumbent upon the team to let the boss know that, hey, I got too much going on here. I can't accomplish all of these things. Okay, well,
Right.
let's sit down together and let's figure this out. And
Yeah.
I think that communication is important, and
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
yeah, and I think that's just good leadership. So, um, but yeah, so transparent communication is incredibly important. Um, you know, careful negotiation and being able to compromise on certain things, and being able to do that in a up the chain of command, down the chain of command. It's a 360
Hmm.
degree environment. um Establishing clear expectations. Sometimes I've noticed this. Sometimes people will give you a task to do, and they give you a deadline, but the deadline is not the real deadline. The deadline is one of those that it's something that they just kind of pulled out of thin air to give themselves some buffer. And
Hmm.
sometimes you have to deconflict, like, okay, what's I know you've established this as a deadline. If we were able to move this a little bit, it would give me a little bit more breathing room. What is the no kidding? World's going to fall apart if we there's going to be catastrophic uh, uh, second and third order effects if we don't get this done. What do you need from me and when? And sometimes that would be a good way to give yourself a little bit more breathing room on some of these priorities.
Hmm.
And so I think that's a question that we don't ask enough. Like, what's the no kidding deadline? The no shit. We got to get this done.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And so I think that and some of the basic concepts that we teach in the Forge is setting priorities, setting your rocks. A lot of people just don't do this very well. They don't manage their time very well. And I think it's a critical skill that you've got to be able to develop if you're going to lead and manage teams, is being able to prioritize time and resources and creating a methodology that works. I've oftentimes, if you ever seen we talk about the Eisenhower decision matrix, where you're like, with your time management, is it it's basically a quadrant of this is urgent, not urgent, it's important, not important. Everything
Hmm.
falls into one of those quadrants. So, what are the things that you're working on, and how much time are you wasting on activities that just don't matter?
Hmm.
And being able to identify those things are incredibly important. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, all of those are very challenging. So, I guess the bottom line, it sounds very simple, but it is a simple approach. What's the priority? Enumerate them, determine what are the glass balls, what are the rubber balls, and then, uh, good communication. Like, just,
Yes.
hey, I need some help with this, or hey, I just these are all the priorities. I don't have enough time in the day. What are you willing to assume some risk on? And then, oftentimes we're trying to solve problems, and many of these problems aren't our own problems. We spend a lot of intellectual bandwidth trying to solve problems that aren't ours to solve within
Hmm.
organizations to deconflict some of these priorities. So you should also ask yourself, like, is this my problem to solve? And with that transparent communication, go to the right person and help deconflict, the priorities.
Well, and something we did, I don't know if we talked about is I think a lot of times people don't want to seem like they're not capable. And so when they are overwhelmed and they have everything's a priority, they feel like if they take that to their leadership or their team, and say, "Hey, I can't get this all done. We got to figure this out." That makes them look bad when really that does not make you look bad at all. It doesn't mean you're not capable. It actually makes you look like it makes you more of a problem solver
Yeah.
versus trying to take it all on. And you want to do a good job and you want to knock it all out, but there's just no possible, not enough time in the day to get everything done. um, it's better to be a problem solver and figure out what's priority rather than getting so burnt out that, because it's going to happen, you're going to get so burnt out and then everything's just going to fall. Nothing's going to get done. I've seen
Yeah.
it. I've
Like,
been there.
I think you're absolutely right. Trying to, holding it in and trying to solve it by yourself
Hmm.
is not, it's not effective. And
No.
I think you're absolutely right. When you can communicate and articulate, and ask for help, ask for
Hmm.
help and resources. And
Hmm.
if you're working in an environment where if you ask for help, and you're not getting the resources that you need, are you working in the right place? Because I wouldn't want to work in a place where if I were to ask for help, people weren't willing to offer that up. So to
Right.
your point, you know, working in an environment where you've got team players that are willing to help out and you can have open communication is incredibly, incredibly important. So
Yeah.
don't hold that to yourself, because I
No.
think you're absolutely right. It shows strength when you're asking for help, and I think it helps the team out with being transparent with communication.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, so I know that this is a challenge for a lot of organizations, but
Hmm.
if you're finding yourself in that situation, get in the habit of identifying, enumerating your priorities. Realize not everything can be a priority, and leadership is 360. You need to communicate that to your bosses up the chain of command, down the chain of command to your peers, and encourage. And I would always encourage my subordinate leaders to do the same. Like, if you're ever feeling like you're overwhelmed, and you've got to let me know, because I don't know what I don't know, because
Hmm.
everyone in every role is facing a lot of, they're often doing numerous things, but I can't help you. I can't help you solve the problem, or I can't enumerate the priorities for you if you don't let me know, because I know, each with new levels, there's new devils, and there's always something that someone's working on that you may not have understanding of. But if you
Hmm.
don't raise your hand and say something, well, that's a problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
So, and that's doing the hard thing, is having the conversation, being a transparent communicator, letting other people.
Communic Communication is not confrontation. It's communication. Let it be communication. Learn how to communicate.
Communication is not confrontation. I had not heard that before, but I love that, Because a lot of people view it as that.
Oh, I did for many years. I was not I was not very good at communicating anything that I thought would lead to confrontation, and so I had to learn that communication isn't confrontation; it is communication, and that's the only way to get through and solve problems. I mean, once I learned how to communicate, my life is completely changed for the better. And I
Well,
mean, sometimes it doesn't always turn out right. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it does turn into, not maybe what you want to hear, but it still doesn't have to be confrontation. It can still be just communication.
it sounds like one of those songs. Communication for confrontation. You ever hear those little, what are they? Who did those?
A ditty, I don't know what it's really
It's a
called.
little,
Like
those little
PD.
ditties, like PBS ditties.
Yeah,
Communication's not confrontation. That's
I'm pretty sure that's
awesome.
something I made up to make myself. I had to remind myself.
Uh, it's good. Well, if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling overwhelmed and just everything's chaos, you got this. You got this.
Yep.
Just start developing the habit of just realizing that you're going to have to assume some risk on some things, and just breathe, communicate better, prioritize, and
Yeah.
just realize that you're not alone with it. A lot of people struggle with that. The better that develop those skills, though, if you're in an organization that promotes growth mindset and their team players, they're going to help you out. But if sometimes I've been in organizations where everything was a priority. And it's like, you know what? Your priority isn't my priority. So that's okay too. Sometimes
Yeah.
you have to be like, you know what? You can, I don't know. You're trying to put. I had a boss who used to say, he's from New York, had a New York accent. You try to. Well, I was putting 10 pounds of bologna in a 5-pound bag, and I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? But we're always stuffing too much in too little. There's never enough time
Yeah.
or resources. So you may have to be the one that, you know what? Even everyone is freaking out. Be the
Hmm.
calm one in the room. Be like, you know what? I can see that we don't have enough time or resources to complete everything, and I'm just not going to get spun up about it. And
Yeah.
I'm going to choose to not um, lose my mind over stuff. I was worked in some organizations where I got really caught up in that. I'm like, okay, the organization's constantly, this is not about me or my inability to get things done. It's just that the demands are too high, and
Yeah.
I am not going to lose my health over this, because I worked in one organization. That's where I developed high blood pressure because I cared too much,
Hmm.
and I felt like I was failing. And I'm like, you know what? No, this is an organizational issue. I can
Yeah.
only control what I can control, and
Hmm.
we're notorious for doing too much with too little. And it's
Yep.
not about me or my team's inability. It's just there's too much demand placed on us, and they're
Right.
never satisfied. And I'm going to do what I got to do to bide my time to get out of this organization. That's
Dude, I
what
mean,
happened.
I was there and I used to remind my team all the time, we can only do what we can do. Like
Yeah, yeah,
every day I'd have to remind them, "Hey, look, we can only do what we can do.
yeah,
Prioritize what we're doing. This is what we need priority today." We even we even started out, I would play a song of the day. I would try to find a song and um we are the champions, I mean, just silly little stuff like that to get the day started, but as a reminder, hey, look, we can only do what we can do. Stop stressing out, man.
yeah.
We can only do what we can do. What is our priority? Okay, this is our priority for today. Let's get on it. Let's do it. Let's knock it out. And tomorrow will be a new day, and we'll come back and we'll figure it out. But stop stressing out, man. Don't let them steal your joy. That's what I tell. Don't let them steal your joy.
Yeah, if you're leading a team in an organization like that, I think that's incumbent upon keeping morale up. Like, look, I know everything seems like it's chaos, right? It just, we're constantly getting pressure, but to your point, we can only
Yeah.
do what we can do, and I'm setting the priorities for the team, and I want everyone to just put your blinders on to all the other white noise. You're doing a
Yes.
good job. You're doing what I need
Yes.
you to do. That's good.
You're
So that,
still here.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that's for those more toxic environments, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
hey,
So
but hey, we've got segueing into some great our favorite part. Our
oh,
favorite
absolutely.
part.
Our weekly winner this week is awesome. So we're going to transition to that now. So give me a second here.
Oh, yes, yes.
All right. Oh, where are we at here? Give me a second. All right. We're almost there. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Socorro Halloway. She's the grandmother of one of our favorite people, Stephanie Valdivia, and she lives in Medford, Oregon. I had the pleasure and honor of meeting her a couple years ago. And what is amazing about Socorro, and this is truly inspirational to me, She is, I believe, I hope I'm not getting this wrong. I believe she is 75 years old, 75 years young. And what she does is she is constantly out there hiking with her friends. And what's amazing about some of these hikes, she does these they're called El Caminos, which are spiritual walks. There's a series of pilgrimages essentially across Europe. I think they're prominently in Spain. They're prominently in Spain, but they have some, I think, in other countries like France and some other countries. And you basically walk across the country on the spiritual journey. This has been something that's been happening since like I don't know, there's centuries of what do you call that? Tradition. They're tradition.
Mhm. Mhm.
And a lot of these pilgrimages lead to the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela and in northwestern Spain and a few other cathedrals. But basically, for centuries, pilgrims have been, traveling all over the world to come and basically walk these pilgrimages. And they're hundreds of miles long. They're across, they span across the country for the most part. And Socorro is constantly out there training. I believe she's actually out doing one right now, or she just completed one, but she's done
Mhm.
numerous ones. And so she went out, and Lacey and I went out to Medford, Oregon, because that's where Lacey's company is, the Dogs for Better Lives. And she met up with us, and I was able to do a hike. And she's just a fantastic woman. She took us out to dinner. It was just so incredibly hospitable to us. When she's not out hiking, she's volunteering her time to give back in her local community, and she's literally one of the nicest, most adventurous people I know. And when you think about just age is just a number. That's when I think of Socorro, that's what I think of, because she's just living life,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing. So, Socorro, you're this week's winner. We're going to send you a Do Hard Things shirt. Thank you for being an inspiration to all of us.
Hashtag goals right there.
Absolutely. Hashtag goals. So,
Yep.
yeah. So, Socorro, wherever you're at in the world, safe travels. And I'm inspired to do one of the El Caminos because of her. So,
Oh
it's
yeah,
on
for
my
sure.
bucket list of things to do. So,
Same. Same.
all right, Socorro. Well, keep doing hard things. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it is, we're busted on time this morning, but great to see you again, Angie.
Yeah, good to see you too, man. It feels like it's been forever.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, great conversation this morning. Great topic.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this was beneficial. And to those
Hey, let us
listening,
know, man. If you're out there and you're listening, let us know if you've gotten any insight, any if we helped in any way.
yeah, we'd
Share
love to hear.
your yeah, yeah, we want to know. Let us know.
And if you know someone out there that's kicking ass, taking names, doing awesome things that are in alignment with the Do Hard Things Nation, let us know, because we
Hmm.
want to honor them. We want to send them a shirt. We want to recognize them. So let us know. All we need is
Hmm.
just a few photos, a quick little blurb of what they're
Hmm.
doing. And yeah, we'll submit the nomination, and we will announce them here on the podcast, and then send them a shirt. So
Yeah, and that will make them smile, which makes us smile.
absolutely. We love
Yes.
doing that, which is what we want to
Yes.
do. Make
We
someone
spread them.
smile. All right. For everyone out there, keep doing hard things. Have a fantastic
Yes.
week. We'll see you guys next week.